Psychic Funhouse live podcast. We have returned after our vacation. Uh, Hope you all had a good July 4th holiday and everything else that accompanies the summer and that you're enjoying yourselves. We're glad to have you back on with us tonight, and we're looking forward to having a great show with you again. I am your co host, Mr. Lawrence Birch, and I'm joined by the amazing and always effervescent Miss Adrienne Stratton here. So,
Hey,
welcome.
Lawrence. Hi. Good to see you.
Yeah, glad you could be here.
Yes, indeed.
Yes, and we're glad to be back. So,
Indeed.
how are things going with you, Adrienne, since we last saw you?
Gosh, I have had so much going on, personally, and I had some major repair work that was done to my home, and uh, had to move out. I had to take the two dogs and myself. And bags of clothes or suitcases to a hotel. And I lived in the hotel for 21 days. And so it was quite an experience, a little stressful to say the least, but finally back, I'm back home and the dogs are happy and I am too, glad to be back. So thank you for asking.
Yeah, that's a lot of upheaval.
It was truly.
Mhm, mhm. Did your dogs tolerate it pretty well, or were they pretty upset about
You know
everything?
what? They actually were better. They were actually better than I had anticipated. Um, being German shepherds, though, oftentimes in the middle of, I won't say oftentimes, but a few times in the middle of the night, if somebody was walking the halls or something like that, they heard that, and they'd bark and wake me up. And it's just,
That's
but actually they did pretty well. So
well, that's good.
yeah.
Good. Well, I'm glad you guys are back home and settling back in and able to move forward with all that.
Yeah.
Uh, so
Thank
good.
goodness. Thank
Yeah.
goodness. How about you? How have you been?
I've been good. As we were talking a little bit before the start of the show about the weather up here, it's been um, I don't know if you get to say unseasonally anymore because I don't know if there really is an unseasonal to the weather these days with all the climate change happening. But uh, here in the Northwest, we had several days of over 90-degree weather, uh, which is kind of unusual. I can remember back when I was a kid growing up and either visiting or living up here, you maybe have a handful of days that were 90 degrees or maybe even 100 here and there. But this early in the season, getting this kind of heat is, it's a little bit disturbing, not to mention just uncomfortable. The funny thing was, I ran into this guy who had moved out here from Colorado, and he, it was on a hot day, and I said, "How are you holding up in the heat?" And he said, "Well, I moved out here, and everybody told me that the summers out here were a lot cooler, but they're not." And I said, "Well, yeah, they're not anymore. Sorry, buddy. You moved here too late." So,
They used to be though, right? Used to be
yeah, I
cool
mean, like,
weather.
yeah, yeah, like it was kind of the perfect summer weather. It'd be 70s, 80s, pretty much all summer long, with, like I said, a few days punctuated by the heat, just to remind you of what it could be like, if you're farther south or something. Maybe Southern Oregon. Southern Oregon's always hotter because it's higher and farther south, but it is what it is. So I don't know. It just makes me feel a little bit apprehensive for the future if this is what the trend is already starting to kick off like now. But
Well, it's been and the weather down here has been cooler than usual.
Mm-hmm.
Although we have had, and of course, I'm for any of the listeners, I'm in Southern California in Irvine, and it's been cooler. We've had a few days that spiked hot heat, and now it's cool again. And actually, it rained this morning, so it's
Wow.
yeah, it's strange.
Right. Yeah. Anybody's guess.
Yeah.
Um, so what's coming up for you this week and the rest of this month? Do you have any events or activities you want to share with anybody? And
Well, yeah,
um,
appreciate that. The holistic fair that I do
mm-hmm.
monthly, that's coming up. I think that's on the 26th.
Okay.
And that is the OC Heart Space Holistic Fair in Laguna
Mhm.
Woods.
Hmm.
And it's from 11 in the morning until 5. There's a wide variety of different vendors and healers and practitioners there, different
Mm-hmm.
price points, and some free stuff as well. So it's always a good time, nice community, and would
Mm-hmm.
love to see you there.
Mm-hmm.
Anybody's in the neighborhood.
Yeah. Did am I right in remembering you did a presentation at the one that happened last month?
I did, as a
How did
matter of fact. Yeah, I
how did
talked
that
about mediumship,
okay. How did that
and
go over? People
it
like it?
went fine. Yeah, I had a nice little group, and got to answer questions. People are always curious about, well, how did it start? When did it start? What's it like? All of those kinds of things. So,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, yeah, it was great.
Cool.
Yeah,
How about your contact info? Maybe share that with the
sure.
folks.
Yeah. Um, probably the best thing to do is look at my website, which is
Mhm.
ravenmessages.com.
Mhm.
And on that, you'll find information about my fees, my services, and upcoming events as well. So that's probably the best way. You could call me or text me if you like at 714-376-7289.
Mhm. All right.
How about you? What about your contact information?
My contact information. Yes. Well, that is uh, givingtreefarm.com is my website, and my phone number for calling or texting is 541-344-7534. Um, you can also email me at givingtree@earthlink.net, and I have a Facebook page as well, Giving Tree Farm Herbs. So lots of options.
Yeah,
Yep, yep, yep.
very good.
Mm-hmm,
Very good.
mm-hmm.
Uh,
Yeah, well, our last show that we had before we went on summer hiatus for a little bit was an interview. We had our first guest on, and that was Sky Yeager, talking to us about the shamanic work that she does and other related spiritual matters. And I encourage you to go take a look at it if you didn't get a chance to be here with us live while it was going on. But it's a really fascinating, interesting look at spiritual practitioner's life and all of the things that she does to support that. So that's in our archives. Tonight, though, I thought we might talk together and with our audience members about the moon. This summer, the moon has showed up uh, very prominently in the sky lately. Last month's moon sometimes is called the strawberry moon because that's when strawberries were coming into their ripeness and were harvested by local native folks. And it definitely was a strawberry moon. I got a few pictures of it,
ah, cool.
and it was just huge and red and um, you know quite something. So pretty amazing. And then last week we had our buck moon, so called, because that's when the deer are having the male deer anywhere are starting to grow their antlers, and the velvet on them is pretty prominent. And there's been a couple, I don't know if they're brothers or not, but a couple bucks in the area that I keep seeing around the neighborhood that are uh, developing some pretty serious antlerage on their heads. So it's a pretty interesting process. I don't,
Yeah.
you have to wonder what that feels like because they're similar to bone in their composition, although not identical. But you start off beginning of the year with nothing, and then within a few months, you've got this whole structure coming out of your head. Must feel really interesting,
Oh,
to
yeah.
have that process go on. But yeah,
Yeah. I would think so. I
hmm
would think so.
yeah,
Hmm. Hmm. Pretty cool. Pretty
yeah,
cool stuff. Yeah. Love it.
yeah. So, so hopefully our audience has had a chance to see the moon out there this summer as well. There's a lot of different things to share about it, um, and just some interesting belief systems over the centuries about what the moon uh, represented to people, and what its spiritual significance was, and ideas about its origin story and that sort of thing. And back in Greece and Rome, the moon was associated with a goddess that they called Selene, who was also appropriately enough called Luna. And the moon was the silver chariot that she drove across the night sky, kind
Hmm.
of like the way they viewed Apollo as the sun, driving the sun across the sky
Hmm.
as a chariot. Eventually, Selene became kind of a shared persona with Artemis or Diana, and they kind of merged into one being as a huntress, protector of women, and goddess of the forest as well. So kind of an interesting amalgam. Um, I was just talking with my herbal students last night in my herb class that I've been teaching this summer about Artemis, because I brought in some mugwort, and mugwort's Latin name is Artemisia.
Hmm.
Uh, and we had been working on developing uh, dream work, and mugwort is a good herb to promote dreams with if you keep it around your bedroom and smell it, or smudge with it and that kind of a thing. So kind of interesting.
Yeah, that's nice. What does it look like?
Well, if I had some here, I would show it to you, but I don't. It's kind of an attractive plant. There's different varieties of it. Some are gray leafed, some are green leafed. Usually on the underside of the leaf, it's a little paler than the top, and grows upright, anywhere from a foot or two on up to 5 or 6 feet tall.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's slender, and it doesn't. It's a perennial, but it doesn't stay above ground up here anyway. During the winter, it dies back, and has kind of divided leaves, kind of hand-shaped leaves, I guess you'd say. So, and it has a really nice scent to it. Most varieties are pretty aromatic and pleasant. If you've ever seen an acupuncturist, sometimes they will burn a cone of a certain type of mugwort over a meridian point in order to help facilitate the flow of energy, or chi, as it's called. And that's a process called moxibustion. And the moxa is the processed artemisia cone.
Hmm.
So, but
Wow. Wow.
yeah, yeah.
That's very cool.
Mm.
That's very cool. I was thinking to myself, now the acupuncturist that I went to, did she ever use anything like that? I don't think she did,
Hmm.
but but I love the idea
Mhm.
of using that to increase the chi. I love that idea. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah. It's interesting, interesting process for sure.
Yeah.
Other things about the moon, other belief systems. So the Norse people were big into gods and goddesses, and they felt like the moon was actually a male spirit, and it was pursued by a wolf in the sky. It was constantly being chased, and in their belief system, their prophecy was that eventually the wolf was going to catch up to the moon and devour it,
Yeah.
and that was going to be a time of great strife called Ragnarok, kind of their counterpart to the later Christian belief of the apocalypse. The world's going to end at some point. What do we do? And uh, so as you can imagine, they sometimes had a bit of an anxiety when there were eclipses of the moon happening, uh,
Oh yeah.
and they did a lot of work to try to uh, recover the moon when it was disappearing during an eclipse. Although I'm sure some Norse people probably just freaked out. But um, so, but
Oh, that's right.
different cultures, different belief systems. Uh, in some Chinese belief, the moon was associated with yin, which is a passive or feminine force in nature. It's the opposite of yang, which is more male and forward. But for them, the moon represented intuition and emotion, and the subconscious, the hidden parts of life. There's a festival every year in some Asian cultures, usually mid autumn. That's the moon festival, and moon cakes, moon pies are made, and
Yeah.
it's celebrating renewal and harmony and things like that. So
Mm-hmm.
it's kind of fun. But yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Moon is absolutely beautiful. I've always loved the moon quite a good bit, and, and was thinking that the moon, the eclipse of the moon, and it that still freaks a lot of people. A lot of people out. A lot of people are still pretty uncomfortable with it.
Hmm.
It's interesting, and then of course, the way a full moon feels as well. That's a whole other conversation. So
Hmm.
yeah.
Yeah. Well, the word lunatic came from a belief, that the moon was responsible for changing people's moods and behaviors and attitudes. So
Hmm. Hmm.
when I uh, when I was a cab driver, most of us, and I drove the night shift. Most of us who also drove the night shift would always dread when the full moon was coming because it inevitably seemed to bring out the worst in people's behavior, which we were already seeing a lot of anyway. Uh, but there seemed to be more car accidents and just crazy people, doing crazy stuff. None
Yeah,
of that's
higher
proven.
crime, and ER rooms are usually busier, and the hospitals, and
Hmm.
I mean all of that is uh, that's a legitimate reporting. That's known facts for quite some time.
It's true. Yeah. Hmm.
Mhm.
Yes, indeed. Yeah. Yeah. Well, um, you know, uh, there's definitely an effect on the Earth from the moon. So, you could see where people would respond to that physically
Mhm.
with the
Mhm.
tides, which is pretty interesting. If you live by the oceans, it's pretty fascinating to see the influence of the moon on the tide and how it shifts the water back and forth
Yeah,
rhythmically. Yeah.
yeah. It's very special. Very
Hmm.
special, to say the
Hmm.
least. Yeah. Yeah, and it's the moon is gosh, in music, in art, in literature, obviously in science, and I think on another note too, I'm rather certain that people are uh, still debating whether or not we ever really landed on the moon or not.
Hmm.
And that might be another conversation, but nevertheless, uh, you know, I I find the moon to be fascinating, and I absolutely love it, and I love how it feels, and I love how it looks, and I talk about it from time to time when I'm doing readings. And I brought out here at home here a few of my oracle cards because the decks that I use have cards that pertain to the moon. I don't know if you can
Yeah.
see that or not.
Yeah.
Okay. And pretty much in the oracle cards, the angel cards, and even the traditional tarot card deck, although that is a little bit different, but the oracle and the angel cards reference the moon as oh gosh, as mystical, as intuitive, as having the ability to, either create illusion or help illuminate various things, from like a person's subconscious. Um, and I'll read here for just a moment. Let's see here if I can. Um, let's see. So just for example, I'll just read just a little bit here from the Good Tarot deck, which I use all of the time. So it references the moon as being an illusion. And it says, I may not see the workings of spirit in the invisible realms, but I know there is great activity behind the scenes. It's important to trust the mystery and remember that the material realm is an illusion. Current conditions are not necessarily a reflection of the truth of what's really going on in the present. Great opportunities lie in the shadows, awaiting the perfect time for illuminations. And that's from the Good Tarot deck. And so when that card shows up during a reading, uh, I automatically will just kind of go into, and so what is your intuition telling you? What are your feelings? Then it doesn't, just like skip trying to analyze it. Where are you at, just intuitively, and kind of explore that with clients. The angel tarot deck, a little bit different, but very similar. You can see
Hmm.
that. It's a nice card.
Hmm.
It says important psychic insights, events behind the scenes, that's similar, release fears that hold you back.
Hmm.
Yeah. And I'll read just a little bit about this. It's very, very similar. It says the angel sent you this card if it were to show up during reading, because this is a time of powerful intuition and psychic ability. However, your greatest insights will be about yourself. Embrace the period of self awareness to overcome past blocks that have held you back. Let's see. Additional meanings is paying attention to your dreams, unseen events that are affecting you, illusions. So that's kind of the overall feeling about the cards when it comes to doing a reading
Hmm.
and tapping into psychic feelings, intuition, um, and looking at what's showing up truly as an illusion, and can some moonlight be shed on it. So
Hmm.
that's uh, the moon is very significant. I also thought it might be important, or at least interesting to some degree, from an astrology standpoint. We talk about our sun sign all of the time, right? Which is the sign that you're born under on a specific day and time and location. And then we have our rising sign. Okay. And that, really is it's kind of how you it's more about the outside world. It's more about how you're projecting yourself, how you present yourself, even to some degree how you're seen in the outside world. And then we have our moon sign. Okay. And so the moon sign, very much like the tarot cards here, the oracle cards, it's about the inner world and about, how we process our feelings. It's about our intuition. To some degree, it's also about certainly about our psychic abilities, but it's about how we experience and process our emotions. So it's that same thing. It's about the inner world, that which is not easily seen, shall we say.
Hmm.
And yeah, so it's kind of interesting. Kind of,
Hmm.
yeah. Moon is represented in everything.
Hmm. Yeah. 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 It's interesting about, when it comes up during a reading, what that might relate to for the client and their situation. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
encouraging them to connect with their um, deeper sense of self or purpose, and see where their blocks are, if there are some fears and things holding them back, or what
Yeah.
desires they may have that aren't being manifest, but they're still having an effect upon them.
Mm-hmm.
Um, how to tap into those in a positive way and
Yeah.
manifest something. Hmm. Yeah. Yes. Very mysterious. The moon works in mysterious ways.
Mm-hmm.
People.
Indeed. Indeed. Yeah. Yeah. Hmm. Love it. I love it. Yeah, it's a wonderful thing to be able to be outdoors, especially during the evening hours, and to see the moon, see the stars, and no matter what your immediate thoughts are, the fact is that they're always there, you know, always
Mhm.
there. And I've always found that at various times in my life to be quite comforting, quite comforting.
Mhm.
Yeah. Mhm. Yeah. So, you know what your moon sign is?
Uh, I should. I've had readings done, but it doesn't come to me right at the moment. How about you?
Yeah, I am what is called a double Taurus. So I am
Uh-oh.
yeah, I know. God. My my sun sign is Taurus, and my
Mm-hmm.
moon sign is Taurus.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So,
So you're homebody.
yeah, very home oriented, very grounded, um,
And
intuitive.
doubly horny.
Yes.
Yeah, I think my moon sign's in Venus, if I recall. But
Oh.
so I'm
Hmm.
sure that means that I'm an amazing lover or something like that. So
Hmm.
um,
Gotta love that.
yeah, something we need to take care of before we keep going is our disclaimer.
Oh, yes.
The legal department just pounded on my door and slipped a note underneath and said, "Hey, you don't want to get sued." Um, so for those of our audience looking to us for anything other than entertainment purposes, we're going to encourage you to look elsewhere. If you are looking for financial or legal advice and that kind of thing, you should definitely consult a professional. We're professional psychics,
Yep.
but we don't give out that kind of advice. We're just entertaining you,
Yeah.
hopefully. So that's our job. So, and even if you did sue us, you wouldn't get much anyway. So I wouldn't encourage you.
that's, that's the truth.
Follow down that route. Sad to say, but unless my investments come through in crypto. Uh, so, so I dug up some different things to share about the moon, and I thought this was kind of interesting. There's a folklore story about a man who's carrying sticks on his back during the Sabbath, and that was a no-no because you're not supposed to be working. But in England and Germany, they had a belief about this story of the man being punished, and his punishment was to be sent to the moon as a warning to others. So that's one of the origin stories of we always hear about the man on the moon, and I didn't realize he was up there not of his own free will, but he was potentially hanging out because he didn't follow the rules. There's a rhyme that goes, "The man in the moon with his bundle of thorn stuck fast in his place for breaking the morn." So some people feel like this is where the idea of Jack and Jill came from. They go up the hill, and the hill is the symbol of the moon, really. So,
Hmm.
uh, yeah,
Interesting.
yeah, yeah. And Asian cultures look at the moon, and sometimes they'll see a rabbit in the moon, or a frog. And uh, if you look at the moon a certain way, you can kind of see that. You can see the head of the rabbit with the tail, with the ears and everything, which is kind of
Hmm.
interesting.
Hmm.
Um, um, but the uh, the folklore around that is that the moon goddess was called Shange, and Shange became immortal after drinking a special elixir, and she ended up floating up to the moon. And the only companion she had was a rabbit made out of jade rabbit. And sometimes the rabbits depicted as grinding special herbs in a mortar, mortar and a pestle, which symbolizes the preparation of an elixir of immortality. So,
Oh, wow.
yeah. Um, Aztecs believed that when the gods created the sun and the moon, Tekuk is, I'm going to mispronounce that, Tekukistoctl, Tekusticoctl, something like that. Anyway, the moon god hesitated before sacrificing himself. And as punishment, they dimmed his brightness by striking the moon with an actual rabbit, which left the mark of the rabbit on the moon. So, so two different cultures arrived at the same conclusion that there was a rabbit up there, which is kind of interesting to think
That
about.
is.
Yeah. So,
Hmm.
well,
Hmm. Hmm. Yeah. Very interesting. I'd like to know more about the jade rabbit.
mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. Well, rabbits, in different cultures often signify a trickster figure, kind of like a coyote,
Right.
which is why, magicians are pulling rabbits out of their hat
Right.
associated with rabbits. So,
Right.
but
Right.
you think of,
Mhm.
Brer Rabbit, all those stories from the South, and Bugs Bunny, I guess, was the rabbit that, some of us grew up with watching cartoons. He's always fooling the Elmer Fudd Hunter and things like that. So it's
And
interesting too.
there's certain people, certain groups of people that practice more of earth kinds of magic, shall we say.
Hmm.
And one of the things that they recommend for inviting prosperity in abundance the first of every month is to uh, you want to take cinnamon. You want to take cinnamon and um, throw it. I guess that is, yeah. Throw it, toss it, sprinkle it, like at your front door. And as you open your front door, you want to say rabbit, rabbit, rabbit.
Oh, uh-huh. Yeah. Yeah. I had a girlfriend who got told by, I think, one of her parents that if she woke up and said rabbit every day for a year, that, she'd have a bunch of good luck come her way. So I remember waking up to her and she was always saying rabbit, rabbit. And then like one time she forgot and she's like, damn it, now I have to start all over. It's like, seems like a lot, but I have heard
Oh,
that. It's funny.
yeah,
Yeah.
very
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah. Yeah. What else? So moon's also associated with things like werewolves, right? So if
Oh,
you're a
yeah.
werewolf, right, you transform at the full moon into a wolf from a human being. Um, Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde, uh,
Mhm.
that was connected to moon transformations as well. So, of course, witches, were supposed to cast spells in
Right.
more powerful ways when there's a full moon. So,
Yep.
light and energy was different then. So,
There are times um, during a full moon when the energy is so intense. Um, I turn around and go back in the house.
uh,
It's like, oh no. So
yeah.
I feel it, and it's so powerful and so strong. And I just feel like, you know what, it's a little bit safer indoors. So I think that's where I'll head.
Hmm. Yeah. Yeah. It's an interesting thing having this object in the sky for, the majority of the month and watching it change its shape,
Yeah.
from waxing to waning.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, and then, the counterpart being the sun, just always constant. I think it's interesting too that they just happen to be positioned far enough from Earth that when there's a solar eclipse and the moon is just the right size to get in front of the sun and block out most of it, except for that
Yeah.
little ring around it. That's pretty
Yeah.
interesting.
Yeah.
Mhm,
It's amazing. Absolutely.
mhm,
Mm.
mhm.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Speaking of eclipses, different societies had beliefs about eclipses, of course. Um, Mostly that it was a bad omen, that something bad was happening. And so the people in South America, the Inca, believed that when the moon was being eclipsed, it was because there was a jaguar that was attacking it. And so they would make a lot of noise, banging on drums and things to try to scare the jaguar away and bring the moon back. It's pretty cute.
Yeah.
Some Chinese beliefs were that there was a dragon that was swallowing the moon, and so they tried to scare it off in the same way. Um, but
Hmm. Hmm.
pretty interesting.
Hmm.
Um, yeah,
Interesting.
um, yeah, yeah. There's a goddess of fertility and mind belief named Ishchel, and she also governed childbirth. And when there was an eclipse during the Mayan calendar, they also believed that the moon was being attacked. Um, they also had a pretty advanced understanding of astronomy, and their calendars were pretty remarkable for being accurate and predicting different events and things, and are still looked to today. Um, but they also felt like an eclipse was a bad omen, even with all their what we would call maybe pre-scientific knowledge, and so they would try to scare away the jaguar that they also saw as attacking the moon, and during an eclipse, and eclipses were um, seen as negative influences on anyone who was pregnant at the time,
Hmm.
and uh, that if that wasn't addressed, that the pregnancy could be negatively affected or even terminated. Um, Proper rituals weren't taken, so
Wow.
definitely saw a connection between the two.
Wow. Oh, interesting.
Hmm.
Very interesting.
Yeah.
Hmm. Hmm. Hmm.
Yeah, it's pretty common to see different schemes for planting based on moon ritual too, right?
Oh, yeah. That's
Yeah.
right.
Hmm.
That's right.
If you ever have picked up one of the old farmers' almanacs, they'll have different instructions on when the best time to plant things is based on the moon.
Do they still have is that still a current publication, the Farmer's Almanac?
I believe so. At least I'm sure it's digital. I wouldn't
Oh,
be
yeah.
surprised if they were still making you know actual printed copies of it. But yeah.
It's such a cool book.
Hmm.
I always enjoyed it.
Hmm. Yeah, I think Ben Franklin started one of the original ones back in the day.
Wow.
So poor Richard, poor Richard's almanac.
Mhm. Mhm.
Mostly the idea with the moon planting is that when the moon is waxing or it's getting fuller, energy's rising up and is supposed to be helping plants germinate and grow. So that's when you would do transplanting and things like that. And then when the moon was waning and getting smaller, turning into a crescent, that's when you would um, do things like weeding or pruning, taking parts of plants away, things like that. So
Hmm.
yeah,
Hmm.
it's waning moons, slow growth, waxing moons, increased growth, kind of a thing. So
Okay.
yeah.
I appreciate you sharing that. I don't. I I've heard those terms, over the years, but I don't know that I really understood exactly what they meant. So that's great.
Mm-hmm.
Waning and waxing.
Mm-hmm.
I don't
Waning
know. I
moons.
just know my favorite phase of the moon is a crescent moon.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Yeah. It is it's interesting
Mhm.
when it shows up like that in the sky, for sure.
Yeah.
You know.
Mm.
Do you remember, have you heard of the term blue moon?
Yeah.
Once in a blue moon?
Yeah. Once in a blue moon. Hmm.
So blue moon is when a full moon happens within a calendar month. So you have two full moons within a month.
Oh, yeah.
And the second one's called the blue moon. So
Hmm.
um, and of course different belief systems revolved around that. So some Europeans felt that blue moon was the best time to break spells or to cast spells.
Hmm.
Um, and it was also a time of unpredictability uh, when things could happen that you'd be less likely to be in control of. So yeah.
Yeah.
Then of course we talked about lunar eclipses, and when lunar eclipses happen. It's different than when there's a solar eclipse because all the light gets blocked out. The lunar eclipse is the Earth is getting in front of the or well between the Earth, between the sun and the moon, and all the light coming from the moon is just a reflection of the sun. So when the sun stops being able to cast its light on the moon, we can't see it. It disappears.
Mhm.
And oftentimes that has a when that happens, the moon takes on a reddish cast, which is called a blood moon by a lot
Oh,
of
yeah.
cultures. And
Mhm.
just like with an eclipse, it's definitely seen as a bad omen in most cultures. Uh,
Mhm.
like the uh, people in West Africa believed the blood moon was caused because the moon was wounded, and so
Hmm.
the blood was a sign that the moon had been injured, and that they perform rituals to symbolically heal it. Um,
Wow.
yeah,
Very interesting.
hmm yeah,
Mhm. Hmm.
yeah. And then another moon of note is the harvest moon, which is the full moon that happens at the end of the summer,
Yeah.
and this is when the cultures gather to bring in the harvest and celebrate the abundance that hopefully has happened, prepare the crops before winter and that kind of thing. So,
Yeah.
mhm,
I love it. I
mhm.
love it.
Yeah.
I was just thinking, I was just thinking that I suppose the phase of the moon also affects the tides, right?
Hmm.
And boating, navigating boats and things of that sort. Maybe not so much the larger ships, but um, but maybe I don't know.
Hmm. Hmm. Yeah. Well, several years ago, I had the opportunity to go up to uh, Eastern Canada and got to spend some time on the Bay of Fundy,
Oh,
which is in Nova Scotia. And the tides there are some of the most extreme in the world. They can be over 30 feet
oh wow.
in a day. And for a number of years, I've taught a seaweed class, and I talk about the tides and their different different ways they're expressed. Some places, like here on the west coast of the U.S., we have two tides in a day. We have a high tide and a low tide, and then later on we'll have a lower low tide and a higher high tide. Some places only have one tide change during a day, and other
Oh,
places barely have one at all. But the Bay of Fundy is amazing. It's partially because of its shape. It's kind of funnel shaped, right? So the water can't get in and out very easily, so it gets trapped a little bit, which is part of why the um, the tides there are so extreme. But it's pretty amazing to watch it happen because you can literally almost see it drain like a bathtub, or fill up,
mhm, mhm,
and then it just exposes all sorts of things uh,
mhm.
for a period. But you know, definitely
Yeah,
influential. Hmm. Hmm.
there's nothing quite as beautiful as the moon reflecting on the ocean. That's pretty special, pretty darn special.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I've even got a poem about the moon that is maybe worth sharing. Um,
Please.
yeah, a silver disk in velvet night, the moon ascends, a gentle light, guiding stars in silent grace, reflecting beauty, time, and space.
Nice.
Yeah.
Oh, lovely.
Pale orb of night, a watchful silent height, you paint the world in silver hue, and dreams take flight, both old and new. Okay, one more. The moon hangs, a pearl so white, a beacon in the fading light. She pulls the tides, she calms the soul, a timeless wonder, making us whole.
Yeah.
There you go. So,
Very cool.
yeah.
Hmm.
Indeed.
Love it.
Mhm.
I love it.
Mhm.
Hmm.
So you mentioned earlier that there's a conspiracy theory that we never made it to the moon, right?
Oh, yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
part of that is a part of that conspiracy theory involves a famous director named Stanley Kubrick. You know
That's correct.
who did 2001, right? And I read something recently about that where the person was trying to deconstruct the conspiracy theory, and they said that um, they didn't have any evidence, but they thought that um, part of what was going on was that NASA was unsure about the quality and quantity of video and photographs they were going to be able to get um, from the moon missions, and so they contracted with Stanley Kubrick to um, create some extra footage so that they could use that to show, that they were actually able to go to the moon, and it was just going to be used as augmenting what they already had, which I thought was an interesting theory. It's like, okay, well, so it's not that we didn't go to the moon; it's that we wanted to make sure we could keep the money coming by showing these great,
Yeah.
uh, photos and
Yeah.
footage. But that to me seems pretty plausible, uh,
Yeah.
knowing how bureaucrats work. Like, well, let's
Yeah.
just sugarcoat this a little bit, you know. So,
Yeah. It is interesting that like China and Russia, India, I suppose as well,
hmm
have never been there, that
hmm
we know of, or that I know of anyhow.
hmm
And um, yeah, it's still debatable, I think.
right, yeah. Well, for all we know, it may actually be made of cheese. Who knows?
It may be.
Mm-hmm.
Indeed.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh gosh. Yeah.
Well, yeah. So that's our show about the moon. Um, Maybe you can share your contact info and the event that's happening
Yeah.
soon
Yeah.
for our listeners and
Thank
watchers.
you.
Hmm.
Happily. Yeah, so for July, the only event that I have locked in is at the OC Heart Space Holistic Fair in
Hmm.
Laguna Woods. And it is a really nice event. There's some very nice people, good sense feeling of community there. Some very talented, gifted, if you will, healers and practitioners, various price points. And then there's a lot of free stuff as well. And and it's from 11 until 5 p.m. um, Street parking, free parking. Um, and so if you're in the area, I hope everybody will come on by. I'd love to see you there.
And
So
then
I've got.
you
Mhm.
also mentioned that it's on Zoom as well, right? People
Yes,
on Zoom.
yes, yes, that's right. Yes.
Hmm.
A lot of the sessions can be on Zoom. And I know that even some of the readings can be done by telephone. So that's
Hmm.
available.
Okay, good to know.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So, if you want more information or want to ask me any questions about it, or if you're curious about any of my personal services or fees, check out my website, which is ravenmessages.com. And you can call me or text me at 714-376-7289.
Nice.
That's it. Yeah. Thank you.
Hmm.
Thanks for that. Yeah. And you, Lawrence, how can people find you?
Well, they can give me a call or text me at 541-344-7534. My email is givingtree@earthlink.net, and my website's givingtreefarm.com, and my Facebook page is Giving Tree Farm Herbs. So that's
Great.
how that works. Yep, exactly. So, um,
Cool.
yes, indeed. So, uh,
Well, I certainly enjoyed our, yeah, send in those love donations.
still time for the show orders.
That's right.
Yeah,
That's it.
that's right. Now that Jimmy Swaggart is no longer competing with us for donations,
That's right.
hopefully we'll get some.
Oh gosh, I love
Oh,
it.
yeah.
Um, Anyhow, thank you, Lawrence, for a great topic and conversation. And the education that you shared with us on so many of the interesting facts about the moon and how it has been revered in history and just a wide variety of things in life. I appreciate that.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I think, the moon continues to be an object of fascination on the scientific as well as the spiritual level. And
Yeah.
it's worth getting to know a few more things about it, since it's going to be our constant companion up there in the sky. And
Mhm.
it's just a really pretty amazing object for sure.
Yeah.
So appreciate it. It's nice
Yeah.
to be able to honor it uh,
Mhm.
by having a fascinating discussion about it with you.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, yeah, I liked your contributions as well from the
Sure.
oracle and tarot card
Yeah.
side of things. So yeah,
Hmm.
yeah,
Hmm. Yeah. Wonderful. Wonderful. Well, it sure is good to be back home and be back on the show with you and, reaching out to the audience. And, we hope that you've enjoyed listening to us and participating. Please tell a friend. We are so anxious to develop a great community here. As many people know, Lawrence and Michael Espinosa, always talk about Michael, formed the Psychic Funhouse a number of years ago and really had developed quite a following. So I've been the newbie, and uh, when we switched over to the Riverside platform, which has been wonderful, really quite nice. Um, the platform changed, service changed a bit, so at any rate, we are, still developing that following, that community. So again, please tell a friend. We're here every Friday.
yeah. And we always look forward to new and returning audience members. So
Hmm.
yes, indeed, yeah. So you can always sign up and subscribe and never miss a show, and take a
Yeah,
look at all the archive videos that we're starting to create in
yeah,
our library too, in
yeah.
between shows. So, all right, well, that's going to be it for tonight's show. But we will be here again next week, every Friday, 6 to 7 p.m.,
Yep.
and we look forward to seeing you. And thanks again for spending your Friday evening with us. And have a lovely weekend. Stay cool.
Yeah.
So,
Say cool.
we'll see you next time.
Uh-huh. Okay. Bye, Lawrence.
All
Bye,
right. Bye,
everyone.
Adrienne. Thanks
Thank
again. Yeah.
you.